How's it going? Good to see you. Blah, blah. It's funny. That'll get me on SNL. I'm pretty sure everybody. SNL is high. How's it going? Good to see everybody. I am just gonna post this to the normal places I post this. It usually takes a second for anybody to notice that these are on. Hopefully we don't attract too many weirdos and trolls. Oh man, it's been a long night. And I was just out driving around, really. Hanging out. So I have a whole story, I guess. So I just got my license. I know I'm 33 and I just got my license. But there's a big caveat that I don't know if I should tell yet. But there is a big caveat to me just getting my license. Oh man, it's been a long day. Did some writing, did some arting today. Still not totally confident in my computer's ability to broadcast, which is why I am fuck. Yeah. Damn it. So, my mouse. Ugh, come on. Be a friend. There it is. Hi, people. How's it going? Hope everybody is having a good day and everything's treating you well. I am just trying to post this to the pertinent places right now, which is terribly boring and I hate doing because it takes forever and nobody cares. But there's like, I posted to a Discord server, my Discord server, I posted it to my threads, which I only have because Instagram pressured me into getting it, and I only got Instagram because I was pressured into getting that. And then it's like, that's it, really. Yeah, it's very fresh hair. How's it going? I consider myself a style icon, There it is. Okay. Doing these, you don't really get to take like a break or anything. Just when you need to log off, that's it. Which is funny, I guess. Okay. It's funny how like wildly these like went from like 12 to 1. It's because you guys heard me speak for this. Anyways. There we go. So, in the news today, Sean Austin is elected head of SAG-AFTRA. Here's the thing, Sean Austin, aka Sam from The Lord of the Rings. Here's the thing I didn't know until just today. Do you know he's an Oscar nominee? Is it? I assumed it was. That's awesome. Hey, Jaden. Yeah, I didn't Gunn post something about that already? Like, it's going to be called Man of Tomorrow. And it's going to be Lex in the suit. Which is very fun. Yeah. Who do you think? I mean, okay. Jaden, you know that implies only one character is popping up now, right? That implies there's only one person that it could possibly be then, right? If the plot is Superman and Lex Luthor teaming up, right? There's only one person that it can really be. Yes, it's Kite Man. Kite Man is finally getting the time to shine. Doomsday would be my guess. I don't know. Okay, this is going to be somewhat controversial, but Superman has a little bit of an uneven rogues gallery. Oh, fantastic. It's Brainiac. That's good to hear. Superman has like a couple of real like classic villains, and then like it's funny when you really look at it. It's like he has a bunch of there's a couple of like he has like 4 or 5 like undeniable classics, and then there's like a lot of real D-list people. Yeah, exactly. Let's see. I remember looking. Well, writers try and whenever they try and create a new villain, always rely on a very similar idea. What if there was an evil Superman? There's too many. I'm gonna throw it out there. In Superman lore, there are too many evil Supermen, and it's actually quite boring. Okay. Let's see. Bizarro, Bloodsport, Brainiac. Okay, Bizarro is great. Brainiac is great. Cyborg Superman is good, but it's, you know, it's evil Superman. Darkseid. Doomsday, also an evil Superman. Darkseid, kind of an evil Superman. Yeah. Let's see. Fedora, General Zod, also an evil Superman. Intergang is okay, kind of okay. Jax-Ur is, another evil Superman. Lex Luthor, classic. Livewire. Is that from the? Yeah. I was pretty sure. Yeah, I mean she's fun, but hardly a Lobo. Really fun anti-hero, but let's be honest, Lobo is essentially what is a Superman parody too. Manchester Black. Classic story. Manchester is also kind of also an evil Superman. Metallo, evil Superman. Mr. Good character. Parasite. Good. I mean, I know Parasite, but I don't know. Toyman, good. Ultra Humanite and the Ultraman, both good. But it's like half of his most known rogues gallery are just evil Supermen. Yeah. But also, Superman is supposed to be that in his first comic. As somebody who has read the original run of Superman quite a few times at this point now, he is supposed to be. He's just like a different understanding of what that is. He's supposed to be kind of a guy who stands up for the little dude. Yeah. Yeah, it's done. You know, the symbol of fear, symbol of hope thing we attach to them comes through like years. You know, this is in some ways a little bit of modern folklore. Let's see. But it's like, you know, but if you look through his rogue gallery, it's like, it's nonstop, like, evil Superman, which, frankly, you know, after a certain point, like Darkseid is his own, I feel like I may have besmirched Darkseid unfairly. Darkseid is his own character, is a legendary character, who is part of a legendary series. But they, later comic book writers who aren't Jack Kirby do have a tendency to treat him like an evil version of Superman, was kind of my point. Doomsday, Eradicator is literally an evil Superman. Oh. There's so many just kind of evil Supermen. Half of them are just evil Supermen. You gotta, Jaden, like these guys, like they get so involved in like these minutia debates. It'll just, they'll never be happy. They'll never be happy. I'm just gonna tell you, these guys are always gonna try and get you involved in minutia. Hi! How's it going? Do these people, like, do they just read comics? Like Superman is plenty emotional in the comics. Because Jaden, I mean, I could go into a lot of detail about how that is a popular archetype now. The uber perfect best guy ever who can do whatever he wants and everybody must follow them, and how that nicely dovetails with certain political alignments as of these days. But, yeah. But I won't. Yeah, part of the problem is, like, okay, I don't. Oh, I mean, how best to fully explain it? Because it's a complicated thing, but there is a tendency now in fiction, especially with. Fuck those people. There is a tendency. Listen, like. Okay, I'm just gonna say it. There's a certain group of people that want like genre storytelling to be all about how might makes right, and how the stories they want are uber powerful, unstoppable killer protagonists who come in, immediately take over, and show the world, show how to run the world better from there, because they're the most powerful, best in the world. And I hate those types of stories so much. And the problem is, there is a group of people who've grown up who do not know that superhero stories aren't really that, even though in a lot of ways they could be. Like, like good superhero stories aren't that. You know, superheroes are usually in some way underdogs, which sounds weird. Like Superman is one of the most powerful dudes on Earth, but that he's only one of the most powerful dudes on Earth if you don't read comic books and don't understand the deal and understand that Superman really isn't. He's like powerful, sure, he can do a lot, but he's not like in the actual like higher. To quote future Oscar nominee Dwayne Johnson, in the hierarchy of the DC universe, he's like mid tier. Really, he's by far not the most powerful dude in the world. Like the Green Lanterns can literally create anything if they imagine it. How is that not as powerful as Superman? Like how like I never understood that. Like if you're a Green Lantern, like literally anything you think of can become real. It's like the most, as long as you can focus on that thing, it's a thing. So it's like that's like uber powerful. I don't know. Yeah, people didn't seem to like the Chip Zdarsky run though. I don't know. I really like Chip Zdarsky almost uniformly. I like most of his stories, but I didn't get around to that one, and people seem to be a little bit negative towards it. Not saying that he can't write something bad. I'm just saying I'm surprised that people didn't like it. I hear, I don't know. I kind of think that like, he might make more sense as like a Marvel guy. Like if you, because right now everybody's saying his like Captain America run is really good, so I really want to read that. Yeah, but I really like Chip Zdarsky. No, his Daredevil run was like really. Yeah, it's weird because you think a guy who could write a good Daredevil story could write a good Batman story, but it would be a good fit for Batman. But Daredevil and Batman are subtly kind of different, and that kind of screws things up. Yeah, because Daredevil and Batman are both noir characters, and they occupy similar like places in the DC universe. They have somewhat similar stories, but I would argue that Daredevil is maybe a little bit more grounded than is not more grounded. That feels weird to say, but is more small scale. I think is the word I want. Batman's stories tend to be a little bit more epic. Anyways, yeah. I mean, I've been a big Chip Zdarsky. His Spider-Man run is where I was really like, oh no, this guy is like awesome. I love this guy. Did you ever read his Spider-Man run? I heard some mixed things about his Spider-Man run, but some people have some. A guy I talked to had like some mixed thoughts, but I really liked it. Yeah, that's a lot of writers talk like that. One of my favorite runs of all time is Matt Fraction's Hawkeye, and he talked about that very explicitly. Why he enjoyed writing Hawkeye is because it's like you don't have as many like people in like we'll see. Uh, you, you don't have as many people like like edit like everybody always says the problem with Spider-Man is the editorial team. Every interview I've ever read with any writer has all once they're far enough away from it have always said the same thing with Spider-Man. It's the editorial team that's the problem, and that Spider-Man is such a popular comic that you can actually do very little with it that the editorial team doesn't say. So it's why usually like the B tier characters have much better writing. I get okay. Ones I get comparisons I get a lot. Jonah Hill, Seth Rogen, Little Dicky, and not so much anymore, but I used to all the time. Sam Bankman-Fried. Hi, Presley. Yeah. But yeah, I've heard that all the time. That Spider-Man and Batman in particular are very difficult to write for because of that. We're talking comics. We don't have to, but we are. But yeah, I think Superman is also difficult. Superman is difficult for. Take your time on that. Trust me, I know the pain of having to start and stop with a creative project. I'm a little bit in that right now with a few things, which I'm really frustrated by because there's some stuff there I think it's really good writing on my part, but I just don't have the spark for it anymore, and I need to move on to other things instead of trying to like focus on that for right now, which is annoying, but it'll come back. Yeah. It is hi terrible. It is about Luna, but there was another secret project that I hadn't told anybody about that I had gotten pretty far on. That I kind of ran into a block with, and I'm not sure what to do with at the moment. Okay, I'll throw this out there. There is a very weird element of Scott Pilgrim, and I don't, in retrospect, that I have real trouble getting behind nowadays. But that I have real trouble getting behind nowadays, and in retrospect is actually quite creepy. Really? Yeah. The people. If you've been a long-time follower on this channel, you'll know my opinions about the character Red Hood and how little I actually like that character. Yeah. But I will say, yeah. I will say as a teenager, I was creeped out by that plot point actually. Many years ago. I don't want to get into it, but it's I've actually always kind of had an issue with this one plot point in Scott Pilgrim, and I don't want to get into it, but and I have found it really impossible to revisit. Yeah. But I like the art style. Yeah. Here's the thing, DC. Here's the thing. Hire me to write Red Hood. I want to write Red Hood. I know. I have spent out literal hours complaining about how stupid of a character I find Red Hood, but I want to write it because I think I could do it. Yeah. But yeah. So yeah, there is Red Hood. I don't know. I in retrospect, I kind of felt embarrassed for going on that much of a rant about how I disliked that character. But I was, I don't know. I'm less ranty these days. I feel so much less angry these days about everything, just because it's like, I don't know. I'm trying to focus on like positive, okay, positive mental health stuff, and like not being so like burnt out with everything. And it's generally, yeah. Well, that's always been the problem. The problem with Jason Todd as a character, the problem with Red Hood as a character, is they've never his original arc. If you don't know, Terrible, do you know who Jason Todd is? Um, Jason Todd was the second Robin, and he was killed by the Joker. And that had stayed the thing for a very long time until they brought him back as a new character, the Red Hood. But this time he was dark and edgy and violent. And he was an interesting guy because, he was essentially an evil Batman in a way, kind of. He was killing all the crime bosses of Gotham and taking it over. And it was the Return of the Red Hood is a really great storyline. It's actually one of, like, I would argue, one of the best modern Batman storylines, which is funny because Judd Winick is a writer I find I have mixed opinions on. I think when he's really good, but when he's bad, he can be kind of like really bad. But it's Judd Winick, right? Yeah. But in my opinion, yeah, and Under the Red Hood is, I consider, one of the better animated movies they did. But in my opinion, and this is just my opinion, I don't think they've ever really matched that. And it seems every other writer has no idea what to do with him. And so I've been a longtime hater of the character because of that, because I always feel that they crowbar him into stuff, even though they don't know what to do with him and they can't write him all that well. And I've found his presence very irritating in stories because of that. Not that I don't think he could be a good character. It's just nobody has a concise plan for him other than Robin who uses guns, and I find that to be distasteful. But if people like it, I don't care. I don't care anymore. I don't care. It's one of those things I've noticed that really, for a popular comic book character, if you can get a good design in, it's like people will stick by that character for a very long time. Until like somebody, yeah, well, yeah, until somebody can get him, yeah, but nobody can write him successful. And frankly, and this is going to be very controversial, the Batman cast has become become quite bloated at this point. To the point where we really don't need a third guy doing the adult Robin bit. Yes, several. My favorite movie is Fargo from the Coen brothers. That's my favorite movie. It changes every once in a while, but right now it's been Fargo. Yeah. But it's like, yeah, I don't know. It's frankly, like, here's the thing. If I could be very honest, I kind of think Batman like the cast of Batman has become maybe a tiny bit too big. And it's I don't really know how to fix that because a lot of people like those characters to the point where like my solution is basically, and this is going to be really like, I kind of think Batman needs a reboot a bit of way, and kind of needs a reboot, and this is going to sound really wild. I think Batman needs to essentially become X-Men. Not it. Because it's the cast is only getting bigger and bigger, and it's becoming more and more overstuffed. And the only like way I can see it is like we need like it needs to just fully expand into like Bruce Wayne's school for vigilantes or something, because it's like I don't like it's become it's just become so big. I just don't know. Like I there's like what 10 main character, like 10 main characters now, and comics don't really handle like a huge cast of characters. All yes, Joker crowbar, yeah. I don't know. That's one idea I had. So terrible. How are things going? How goes the writing? Yes, we should do Joker crowbar. Have you guys seen Fargo? It's a very fun movie. It's a very fun movie. Well, I just realized you're young people, probably. Yeah. I think that's my favorite movie. I have seen it, oh God, I've seen it like maybe 50 times at this point in my life. I could talk about that for a while. It's a very good movie. It's yes. It's good. If you haven't seen it, it's about crime in North Dakota, and it's about very plain people doing very bad things in North Dakota. There's a whole TV show based around it now, and I'm like, it's a good show, but I feel like, okay, so I think this is probably a genre you guys don't know about, but there is, in the 2000s, there was a genre called the Nordic crime, or Nordic noir genre, and this was detective shows and crime shows set in like Scandinavia, like, you know, Norway, Sweden, Iceland, Denmark, you know, those sorts of shows, Finland, those sorts of shows. And they were very popular in the 2000s. But what was initially kind of compelling about them was that those are countries that have a relatively small population and relatively low crime. So it's kind of interesting, this idea of like what happens when like you know, a place that has lower crime rates suddenly has to deal with horrible murders. But because Nordic noir became really popular and there was a lot of them, suddenly it felt like every day like somebody gets killed. It's like, are there just like 100 murders every day? Yeah. There's a lot of good movies and shows based around that. So I would argue that if you haven't, Girl with the Dragon Tattoo is where a lot of that stuff got really popular. But it is funny because it's like, at a certain point, it's like, is there just nonstop murders here? And I kind of feel that a little bit about Fargo. That kind of the funniness of Fargo was, the bizarreness of Fargo was that it took place in Fargo, North Dakota. Kind of a humdrum, like a place that doesn't, like, barely anything happens. Jaden, how is high school going? Yeah. How are you enjoying high school? How's it like being part of the high school? Yeah. So I do feel that a little bit about like Fargo, the Fargo TV show. It's like at a certain point, it's like, wow, there's now a lot of crime, and the Fargo movie doesn't seem that goofy anymore. Really? What are these t-shirts? Tell me about these t-shirts. I want to learn about these t-shirts. Why is... Okay, Presley, good to see you. Okay. Don't miss... You know, I am actually very strongly considering going back to school. And I gotta say, the one thing I won't miss is... One thing I don't really miss is writing all these essays about everything. Did I tell you guys that I got my driver's license officially? That's what I've been so stressed out about these past few weeks, is trying to get my driver's license all worked out. I am a quintessential late bloomer. I officially got it at 33. Not me at the moment. Jaden seems to need some. But, yeah. 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 Oh, I would kill for that. You know what other ones I want? I want Jubilee sunglasses from X-Men. I've been looking for those for a while. Yeah. Well, Jaden, you know, classic writing saying is perfect is the enemy of good. So sometimes stuff, at some point, like with your writing, it just has to be done. It's like you often never finish working on your writing. It's just at some point it's done enough that you have to let it out into the world. And that's always heartbreaking when you have to concede that it's finished, but what can you do? Yeah, you do. But at a certain point, it just has to get out there, you know? At a certain point, it's done. You'll never feel like you totally finished it, but at a certain point, it's just like, well, there's nothing left to do. It just has to go. But take a break, Jed. Take a break. Don't get so obsessed with it that it kind of you screw it up, like I did with a few of my projects. And remember that this is about this is about process. Yeah. Remember that this is about a process. This is about making sure everything runs. You know, creativity is in many ways about making sure everything runs correctly in your head. And sometimes part of being creative is being not creative. So, like, don't worry. It's all part of the process, Jaden. Oh, no, that's all written. Terrible. That's all written. It's more of an esoteric problem that I've run into, Luna. It's hard to explain. Oh, it's that whole part is all written. It's yeah. It's I don't want to get into it. It's hard. I haven't cracked. It's not where I want it to be, and I don't know what the solution is to that. Well, I do know vaguely what the solution is, but I don't know exactly how I'm going to solve it. It's very esoteric. But the best thing for me to do is focus on other things while I focus on other things and come back to it a stronger writer. I've already written a couple thousand words in other projects, so. Yeah, it'll come. I would never abandon Luna, but I know how my brain works. I would never abandon Luna, but I know how my brain works, and if I don't do it this way, it'll just never come back. So either I do it this way or it never comes back at all. That's fine. This other project, oh man, that was about 9,000 words, Jesus. Yeah. Is it? That's funny. That's good. I don't think, like, this is going to be controversial. I'm going to be controversial here. You know, a thing I'm afraid to be. And it's not, I should preface this that the reason people are complaining about this is because it's creating kind of uninteresting stories at the moment that I think people are just a little sick of reading, which is fine. But I have no problem with you just taking your favorite character, filing the serial numbers off, and writing your own stories, because people do that all the time. It is a fundamental part of creativity to take a character that interests you, change it just enough so it's your own, and then write a story based around them. The most prominent example I always like to point to is Batman is that. Batman, in many ways, is just a concerted ripoff of a much older character called the Shadow. This has been an acknowledged thing. This is an acknowledged influence, and people have admitted to it being the Shadow being a big influence on Batman as a character. But that's just what it is. So I don't think there's anything wrong with taking a character and changing it enough and doing your own thing with it. I get though, but on the opposite side, I get why people are a little annoyed with it, because it also, if people do that too much, it creates nothing but very samey characters and very samey stories, and it's like, ugh. Can we do something else? And I also go like, yeah, that'd be pretty annoying. That's pretty annoying when it's just the same over and over again. Like, if you've been keeping up with book talk trends, as I have, you'll know that the big thing right now for publishers is that they are looking for, this is real, Draco Hermione fan fiction from Harry Potter, and filing the serial numbers off and creating a new story based around that. That is the big thing right now. I believe the biggest book-to-movie deal is currently an example of that. That just can't, yeah, that's what's popular right now. And while I am of the opinion that writers have every right to do something, to take characters inspired by Draco and Hermione and put them together if they want to, under the rights of like America and law, I get why people would be very tired with those types of stories pretty quickly. Like, you're allowed to like think that's kind of a boring idea. Let's see. I want to bum everybody out because of this. Reason Here it is. There's one I know that will be for free. Okay. Harry Potter fanfic nabs biggest book to biggest book to movie deal of the year and maybe ever. Let's see. It is current. Let's see. How much money did it make? Oh, I want cold facts and figures. Okay. Has landed a 7-figure adaptation deal per The Hollywood Reporter. So if you're curious about all this, yeah. That's currently what's going on in the publishing world. And I feel writers have every right to do that as a thing. I feel writers have every right to do that as a thing, but I can also get why they're like, well, that's annoying. I also get why people might be a little bit sick of it. Hi, Harley. Yeah, we're talking about that. Yeah, a 7-figure deal. I don't know. It's shocking. I mean, as I was saying, it's like, yeah, whatever. Sure. If people want that, fine. I'm not. It's called acclimate. Is it me or is it them? Acclimatized. It is definitely not my thing, but it is a thing that's gonna happen regardless. So I don't. It's not. Go. How's it going, Harley? Yeah. Yeah. Me, I'm happy just reading the books I'm interested in. I'm currently reading a book about what, by some estimates, might be the biggest case of embezzlement in human history. We'll see. It's about this is a real story about he was an Indonesian financer. Yeah, okay, so it's about a guy named Joe Low, and he was this Indonesian financer guy, and he, through like wheeling and dealing, got placed in charge of Indonesia's sovereign wealth fund. Now, I just started the book, so we'll see how it turns out. Now, that works. If you don't know what sovereign wealth funds are, just a little bit of history. A sovereign wealth fund is so a lot of countries have these, and what they are is they take it and invest in like stuff, basically. So usually it comes from oil profits. Like Saudi Arabia has one, Norway has one, and they take the investment profits from it, and use it to invest in companies. So, and Malaysia started one, and they gave it to this guy, Joe Low, to manage. Now, Joe Low was a 28-year-old. He had barely any experience with management, and notoriously expensive tastes. and he would like blow millions of dollars of Indonesia's sovereign wealth fund on like just like gambling and stuff. Like they said, there's one report that he blew $1 million at a casino, constantly. Do you need to know the origin? What happened? Oh, Nightbot. Sorry, Harley. That's Nightbot. Yeah. Yeah. I'll link you the article. Terrible, by the way. I'm not. By the way, I'm not calling him terrible. That's his name on Twitch. No worries. I don't know. Lately, I haven't been having to deal with weirdo trolls, so we can probably ease up on this a little bit. I say before damning myself, but so far it's been good. If you're curious about the article about the fanfic thing I just saw. Yeah, so, and he was hanging, like one thing is like with celebrities is you can actually pay them money to like hang out with you. So like he was hanging out with like Leonardo DiCaprio, Paris Hilton, Jamie Foxx. Well, okay. Okay, so there's like a lot of theory that we would have to go over, Jaden. But no, it's not. It's not bad to throw a reader in the middle of the world. That can be done very easily. You don't need to have like long prologues explaining everything about how the world works. People can pick up usually on context clues. You just need to explain them enough to understand what's going on, if that makes sense. So yeah, I just started the book, so I'm not that far into it, but right now he's in trouble. The first hint of trouble, but anyway. And so there is, by some estimates, that Joe Lowe may have had the most like liquid cash of anybody in the world. Ever. So if you don't know business, a little explanation about business. There's cash. There can be two types of cash usually. There's liquid and well, they don't often call it that, but it's usually like solid or frozen, or illiquid is another term they use. Yeah. You don't. Well, the Superman movie does that. It explains. It gives a little summary. And what liquid means is it's like the money in like your wallet or something, you know, like money you could theoretically spend right now. And then there's illiquid, which is like investments and properties and stuff like that. So you'll often hear like on investment news stuff and like financial news stuff about places is like, are they having a liquidity crisis? Is this a liquidity crisis? You know, stuff like that. Robin! Anyways, how's it going? So, yeah, Jade, yeah, it's called $1 Billion Whale. I'm only a little bit, I just started it yesterday, so I'll report back to you as I get further into it, what this type of stuff he pulls. How's it going, Robin? Good to see you. And this is a real story, and like this is an ongoing case. He's 28 years old. Nice, Robin. I ran a mile, which is not as impressive, but I did run a mile today. He's 28 years old. He has very little actual experience in baking, but you know what he is? He's friends with the Prime Minister. He was friends with the Prime Minister of Malaysia. So that's how he got appointed. He made friends with the Prime Minister of Malaysia and his wife. So that's how he got appointed to the Sovereign Wealth Fund. Nice, Robin. Tell me, Robin. Tell me. Are you prepping for a full-on 5K? That's very cool. I'm so glad I like inspired you to run. Robin. I'm so happy that I'm at least... Nice, Robin, nice! Yeah. By the way, Robin, did you hear I got my driver's license? Very nice. Well, that's so cool. Robin, that is so cool, by the way. Best way to do... Yeah. Do you guys want to hear the full story of that? Because there's a complicated wrinkle in all of this, in that... you know what? Maybe I shouldn't say it where it gets recorded. But ask me about it in the Discord, and I can tell you. There's a much. It's a bit complicated because I kind of was misinformed about something for many years. Let me tell you that I was misinformed. But I officially have it now. I officially have my driver's license now. I'm officially a licensed driver in the state of Texas. So I passed my road test 2 days ago, and I am officially, and I have my paper one, and in a couple of weeks I'll get my laminated one. Yeah. Nice, Robin. Okay. I'm going to post what actually happened in the Discord. And if anybody wants to check, it's in the Discord. No, you know, I'll wait. I'm going to wait until I officially get it in my hand. I'm going to wait till I officially get it in my hand. And then I'll, like the laminated ones, and I'll explain what happened. Because it's a very funny story. Full of a very misreading of something online that I did. That influenced the course of my life for several years. So, okay, Jade, if I could, here's my advice on throwing people into random. You know how you meet, like, people, right? You know how you meet, like, people, and they've had a whole life and experience, but, like, you get a good sense of them without knowing the full, like, life and experience. Don't do it. Don't do that. Nope. Bad. Bad to do, don't do it. Do not use generative stuff in your fiction. That is my opinion on that. Yeah. No, I'm just saying that making my opinion clear on that. I don't enjoy doing it. Don't sell me generative fiction. I will not. Yeah, I will not ever buy anything that I know has been generated. I don't know if people want to play with it in their off time. I can't police that, but I'm not interested in buying anything that is generated. So. That's my opinion on that. Yeah. It's yeah, anyways. Yeah. No, that's fine. I think everybody, but it's only going to get worse, Robin. It's only going to get worse. Only going to get worse. But I'll leave it at that, because frankly, I'm kind of sick of having the AI talk. People want to litigate that over and over again, and I'm like, I'm not. I can't do it anymore. I've made my opinions very clear on that many times, and like, I don't want to have it anymore. So, like, by the way, you know, if you just want to play with, I don't know, I don't really care about people just playing with it, but it's like, don't try and sell me any of that crap. Yeah. What was I saying? Oh, yeah, okay. So, you know how, like, you meet people, right? This feels very arbitrary, but you know how you can meet people and you can tell if you like them and you can get to know them pretty well without, like, knowing their entire life story, right? Like, you've done that before. I assume everybody here has met somebody, and even if they don't know everything about them, they have a pretty good sense of how they are, how they behave, what they love, and what kind of they do, even though you don't know every single, like, hard factoid about their life. You can do that with stories and worlds. Like, you can do that with stories and worlds. Like, people don't need to know every single, like, hard factoid about everything that has happened into this world up to this exact moment. But you can get a good sense of how these people work and are from the stories you write. And that's true of, like, our world, right? Like, you don't know the history of every single thing that has ever influenced your life. There are 1,000 little things that have gone on in your life that have influenced you in massive ways you'll probably never really realize. But that's okay. You're still living it. So think of it in those terms. Exactly. And plus, it's like, with, like, fantasy or stuff, it's like you can drop, like, a reference in and not know what that means, and then later go back and figure it out and expand on it. That always just leaves a seed for you to go, like, oh yeah, I can figure that out later, and that will probably be something cool to play with later, but I don't need to do it now. I know, Jaden, my young apprentice, trust me. And this is why I'm trying to help you. You can do this, my friend. Yeah, exactly. Trust, Jaden, trust. You will achieve great things, Jaden, trust. Yes. One of their best movies. Yeah. I mean, yeah. I mean, Tony Gilroy, though, is, like, a really good director, guys. I should make that clear. Tony Gilroy is, like, a freaking great director. You know, I was asked earlier about favorite movies. I keep feeling like Michael Clayton, a movie that Tony Gilroy made, will probably someday end up on that list, but I haven't watched it enough. Yes. Star Wars Lego is always the best. Have you guys ever seen Michael Clayton? For some reason, terrible, I feel like you've seen Michael Clayton. Have you seen Michael Clayton, the George Clooney movie where he's a lawyer and does lawyer things? That's a really good movie. The fact that they got him to do Star Wars is very cool. Well, you should see, if kind of, then you should watch it in full. Appreciate it. After you see Taxi Driver. And, have you seen Taxi Driver yet? But yeah. Yeah. So don't worry. Well, watch Michael Clayton, watch Taxi Driver, watch, I don't know. What other movies could you watch? Yeah, that's terrible. You know, I used to get so many people when I would stream like this. Not so much today. Usually we get like a pretty high number. But I don't know. It's been more stable than trying to stream through my computer, which has been very unstable. Which is why I've been doing this lately. I would like someday to be able to stream back on my computer, but my internet has been so with it, so I don't know. Yeah. Let's see. Yeah, Rogue One was arguably was the best. Here's what I'll say. Rogue One was probably the best Disney produced movie so far. We'll see. This new one that they're going to do is, so far, it sounds actually kind of interesting. Do it, Jaden. Play with ideas. Honestly, sounds interesting, and they're getting all the right people together, so maybe it'll be good. It is. Yeah. So, but it's like, okay. The big thing for me. Slick Banana Peel! What up, what up? Good to see you, buddy. Good to see you. Nothing. We're doing something they never do on the internet. Talk Star Wars. That does not happen, ever. It is a rare event. But I don't know. Ryan Gosling is going to be in this new Star Wars movie. The guy who did the cinematography for Tron Legacy and Maverick, Top Gun Maverick is going to be the cinematographer for this. And I don't know if you guys have ever seen Tron Legacy. The actual movie is like, but dude, that thing looks so cool. Yes, and many other very, very good movies, including some all-time greats. God, you guys gotta watch more stuff. But yes, as in cat. You guys gotta watch more stuff. Yes. I mean, he's been in some like absolute classics. Let's see. Sorry. That was too mean. Including maybe one of my favorite movies, Drive. Blade Runner. Oh shit. The Fall Guy. That was a great movie. The Big Short, really good movie. Lars and the Real Girl. That is a really good movie. Half Nelson is a really beautiful movie. The Notebook. Sleep. Also, I didn't. I'm kind of, not because I don't want to. It's just I'm behind on stuff like that. I don't know. At some point, I got really behind on the Marvel stuff, and it's been hard for me to really catch up. Is it good? I don't know. I feel like I'm seeing negative reviews of it, but I do not trust those reviews. I do not trust those reviews at all. I'm just gonna say it. I do not trust it. you know, the actual quality, who knows? But I have no fucking trust of any of those reviews I've seen. They are all from loud, shouty, angry people who have very strong opinions and refuse to acknowledge that it may stem from a single fact about that show. So, I don't know. So I don't know. That was a character. I really don't like I don't know. I watched the Paper, which was the Office spinoff, which I really enjoyed. That some people seem to believe that I think some people have weird connections to that should not don't understand how to appreciate shows, which is frustrating me. But no. You know, Ironheart is always, I don't know, for some reason people have this thing. I don't want to get into it because it's like it's complex, and the comic gators who do not want to admit that they have a problem with a very specific thing are very annoying to me, and I don't like them. And YouTube keeps pushing them to me, and I'm like, oh, a comic book thing. And I watch it for like a minute, and I'm like, oh, nope, never mind. And it's very hard to get people who aren't that. It's a little bit why, truthfully, it's why I haven't been doing as much comic book related stuff on here, because it's just like, don't really enjoy being part of this conversation. But I will say that Ironheart was always... I have complicated feelings on Brian Michael Bendis, because at one point I think he was my favorite writer, and I feel he has not... I feel he has had a significant downgrade in quality, and I don't know, it's just... The unfortunate thing with... Okay, the unfortunate thing with Ironheart is she came about at exactly the worst time, because Marvel was in a pretty bad period of the comics, and it was like a lot of like this espionage government stuff that kind of overtook it, that was really boring, and I think everybody was justifiably quite bored with. But that's as far as I'll go. I don't know. Ironheart got a lot... Ironheart has been on several teams, and I found her very charming in those teams. Team-up books. So, yeah. But I also think, like, there's no way that character was ever going to get a fair shake. Like, there's nothing about that character that would ever get a fair shake in, like, comics. Like... I have a real problem with like superheroes and how married to nostalgia. I don't know. This. Why do I keep talking? Because I feel like I'm about. Anyways. Racism is bad. People are weird about black characters, and I don't like it, and it's bad. And I have seen no coverage on that show that can keep those sorts of incredulous and terrible thoughts out of it, and they will claim up and down that they are not that, and then they will say incredibly racist things. So it has been, and as somebody who is kind of like burnt out on the Marvel stuff in general, I there are so many things I haven't seen associated with Marvel. And I am so behind in Marvel, really, that I just, and I don't even have a Disney Plus account anymore. I'm just gonna be honest with you guys. I don't. I was barely using it, so I stopped. Anyways, I think I said all the right things. I don't know. Racism is bad, and people are weird. You know, here's a serious question. Is there any like niche on YouTube or the internet that isn't full of weird power jockeying by people? Those are all random words to me. I don't know what this is. But is there any like niche on YouTube that isn't full of like gross people like trying to power jockey and like okay, I guess I'm in a political mood right now. A thing I've noticed particularly in like right-wing circles is that they will inject their very obnoxious and terrible politics into things, and then when you call them out for it, they say, "Why are you making everything political?" And it's like, well, you're the one doing it, man. You're the one doing all this crap. I don't know. It's just I wanted to talk about like fucking Spider-Man comics. I didn't want to like. I didn't want to have to explain. I don't want to have to explain to people why maybe Nazism is a bad idea. I didn't have to say maybe don't be Nazis. Nazis is bad. But anytime I ever broach, okay. Anyways, sorry. It's not. Like I was trying to think of like a piece of media that isn't like, what's like a thing that doesn't have a fan base, that like doesn't really have that active of a fan base. I was trying to think of something that really doesn't, that you could center around. Because I was just watching a video today about like drama that's going in the TTRPG space, and it's like, Jesus, really? Like there's all this like corporate bullshit now going on, and like people playing Dungeons and Dragons together, like, and like people running psyops on other like creators and stuff like that. I'm like, oh my god, what the fuck is wrong with people? Like what? Like Jesus. I was just like, money, too much money. Money. People realized that there was money to be made in this, and it's ruined everything. The thing that ruins stuff is like money. Anyway, sorry. Feel free to interrupt me. You know, this might be like sort of pseudoscience, but this is a thing I've always found interesting about the way people talk. And if you're curious about it, so linguists have studied this, and again, this might be pseudoscience, but it's an interesting idea. And there's generally two modes of communication that people have. One is waiting to be interrupted, and one is waiting to finish. And there are people. What a lot of people will do is they'll just keep talking until they're interrupted, and then they'll interrupt somebody else. And that's how their conversation goes. And the other version is people will talk, finish talking, and let the other person talk. And those are the two most predominant modes of communication. Now, I don't know how true this is, but I always found that kind of an interesting idea. Okay, very interesting. Have you ever gambled before, Robin? If you haven't, don't. It's a nasty habit. I have. Although I'm much better. My story with gambling is when I was 21, I went to a casino, and I won like $2,000 playing cards when I was like $2,000 or $3,000 once playing cards, and so I've always kind of vaguely tried to do that again. And no, bad idea. I've never had that much of luck in a single game before. Gambling can be fun if you have money to burn, and if you don't, it feels like the stupidest thing ever. What I do is if I ever gamble a casino. Ooh, very nice. I bring like $50. I don't bring credit cards. I don't bring like anything. I bring like just like $50, and I can only play with that amount of money, and that's it. Slot machines, by the way, okay, this is a complaint nobody else is going to get, but I'm just going to complain about it. Slot machines have definitively gotten much worse, I would argue. As of late, they're all now these computerized ones, and like, yeah, I wonder how much like people are putting against you in slot machines. Oh, Grand and Noble Casino. You'll be fair with literally computerized slot machines. Those are fun days when you win $90. Okay. Okay. 8-sided dice. How much imaginary money will you put up? Let's bet on it with imaginary dollars. What do you want to bet on? Which number do you think will come up? 3. How much imaginary money are you going to wager, Robin? Come on. How much imaginary money will you wager? $1 million imaginary dollars? $2 million imaginary dollars? Come on. 40 million imaginary dollars. Okay. Robin, let's see if Robin can become a 40 million imaginary dollionaire. It's a 1. Oh, Robin lost it all. Lost it all. They're now 40 million in the hole. Double or nothing? Double or nothing? Who wants to bet on what? Who wants to bet on what? Come on, I want to hear some numbers, people. I want to hear some numbers. $6. Okay, Robin, how much are you going for in 6? Okay, you are double or nothing. Woo! 8. Lost! Oh no, $80 million in imaginary debt. Okay. Here's what I'll do, Robin. Here's what I'll do. We're gonna do a split. I'm gonna let you bet high, low. Okay, where's the break point? So what we're gonna do, Robin, is I'm gonna let you pick a number, and then I'm gonna let you bet it. I'm gonna let you bet money on if it's gonna go higher or lower. So say if you pick a 3, you pick 3 and you bet high. If it gets higher than a 3, you win. If you pick a 4 and you bet low, and lower than a 4, you win. Does that make sense? Higher than a 2. Oh, okay. How much are you placing? How much are you placing? How much are you placing, Robin? Robin. Remember, this is for all the marbles. This is for all the marbles in the world. You need to get higher than a 2. 90 million. Okay. 6. Oh my God, you've made it. You're $90 million. Congratulations, Robin. Congratulations. Congratulations. You're now rich. You're now an imaginary rich person. Theoretically, Theoretically, you have $90 million. Now we must go to Wall Street. Say you have that capital, and say you're starting up a low-interest mutual fund. And turn it into a reality. Quick! Quick! On that plane to New York! Ah, we're going on a plane to New York! Yeah! We're flying to New York! I'm on a plane right now! Woo! Flying! Flying! Look at all the people! Wow! Wow, all the people! Wow! What do you mean the captain's drunk? Oh no, we're crashing! We're crashing! Ah! Oh no, we have to survive in the wilderness. Tommy, what are you doing? Stop trying to eat people, Tommy! No! No! Da! 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 Okay, so it didn't work out. It's been fine. Hot. You know, hot and stuff, but it's fine. Summertime in the city. I mean, we have bad leaders, but we always do, so nothing's really changed from there. Rico. I feel like I know that name, but I don't know it off the top of my head. Let me see. Oh, right. Oh. No, I mean, the Senate candidate hasn't happened yet. See, this is how dumb I am. I thought you were talking about Tommy Tallarico. The yeah. The weirdo dude. Yeah. Yeah, he's very good looking. He's like handsome. He's handsome. I'm in the city. Yeah. Just anyways. Sorry. A bit of news came out that I just was curious about. Seems that it's somebody was incorrect. Maybe, I don't know. Did you guys see what happened in Nepal? In like 3 days, like the entire country just, like its entire government collapsed. It's wild. I was watching this YouTube video. This guy, he's just like a travel vlogger who was in Nepal, happened to be in Nepal that day and caught it on, pretty much caught every major event on camera. Anyways. Okay, so sorry, my throat's a little dry. So what's been going on? I was reading into it. So basically, sorry. There's been a lot of like accusations of the Nepalese government for, all the stuff that people are mad about. There's rampant corruption. It feels like there's very little fair voting, and this has been going on for a while. Like income inequality is getting out of hand. Young people can barely afford to go to a restaurant, and kind of the powder keg moment was there had been a social media trend going called making fun of nepo babies, particularly how rich all the politicians' kids were compared to normal everyday people. And now Nepal, the government has claimed intermittently that this wasn't the intention, but then they immediately banned almost all social media in Nepal. And so there was massive riots that happened, with the police, of course, acting responsibly and very cool. They opened fire on the protesters, and that, of course, always de-escalates a situation. And so it has culminated in them burning down the three major houses of the government, including the parliamentary building. The prime minister has officially resigned, and a new interim prime minister has been picked. And what's kind of fascinating about this is seemingly the interim prime minister may have been picked over a Discord poll. Like, because basically there aren't really any government buildings at the moment, so they've been just meeting in Discord, and they put up a poll to ask, well, who would you want to be interim prime minister? And they picked this woman. It's the first woman in Nepal's history as the prime minister. She was known for being an anti-corruption judge, which was very appealing to the Gen Z kids who were mostly behind this. So she will at the moment be interim prime minister, and the elections to pick the new official government will happen in a couple of months. So we'll see what goes on. But it's a pretty wild story. Within like, hi Gabriel. Yeah. We'll see what happens. There's a lot of enthusiasm right now, but you know, I think they were right to protest. I think they were right. I'm just gonna say I think it does sound pretty corrupt, but we'll see what happens, because a noble sounding thing can go wrong. Usually, there's tendencies for this stuff to go wrong. Hi, Never. Good to see you. Hi, Gabe. I was just talking very briefly about Nepal, which I am now behaving like an expert on because I read 3 articles. Hi, Gabriel. Hi, Never. How's it going? How's it going, you two wild and crazy guys? Yes, I am alive. Yeah, I watched a few video about it. I watched this video. It's a really good video. Just very coincidentally, this like travel vlogger was in Nepal the day it happened, and he got good video of pretty much the entire what happened throughout the entire protest. Let me find it. He was pretty much there in pretty much everything. So. Yeah, it's been a busy week. Holy shit. So I watched this guy's video because he just kind of landed right. He just kind of arrived right when it was happening. So, yeah. So what has been up? Gabriel. Never. Well, I just talked to Gabriel not more than like a half hour ago. So, so I know it's been up. Gabriel, but how's it going, Never? Been a busy week? I imagine so. I hate deadlines. Oh, the city of lights and of joy. The Electric City. Really? How does that work? Tell me about it. Go. Very fun. Hey, guys, remember, not to be a YouTuber here, but if you like the stream, it does help it out. Yes. I can see that. They produced a lot of those episodes of that show. At some point, I kind of forgot what was going on. Thank you. Remember how good Fairly Odd Parents was when it started? never. Have you ever seen? Who here has seen in Reno 911? Do you know that the voice actor for Reno 911 is in that show? I didn't. I didn't know that for a very long time. He's one of. Yeah. 1 second. Let me. I always forget names. Forgive me for always forgetting names. Garcia. He's Garcia. Deputy Garcia. Yeah. He also voiced this American actor. His voice acting roles include Spyro from Spyro the Dragon, the Taco Bell Chihuahua, Rocco and Rocco's Modern Life. That's the one I was trying to remember. Laszlo and Clam from Camp Laszlo. Yeah, a bunch of stuff. Oh, Godzilla! Did I tell you guys ever my pitch for a Beatles movie? I have this idea. I've had this idea for a long time about a theoretical Beatles movie. I want to theoretically write. So I've had this idea. I don't know, but the basic idea was it was going to be an adaptation of the script. Maybe it would have been like an audio drama or an adaptation of the script that existed. But I always had this idea of writing a story about the time. I wanted to write a story where the Beatles. It was a theoretical movie that existed. No, okay. So here's my idea for a Beatles movie. It was the Beatles versus Godzilla. And the idea is that in the 60s, at the height of their popularity, yeah, it's a joke idea. It's not like one of my main projects that I'm working on. It's just a little joke idea I've had forever. And the idea is at the height of the Beatles' popularity, they decided to do a crossover movie with Godzilla. And the idea for it was going to be a book adaptation of the script that existed, and it was about the Beatles touring Japan right as Godzilla attacks. And then that was as far as I really got with that idea. But it's made me laugh every time I think about it, because it's just like, wouldn't that be the greatest Godzilla? Beatles versus Godzilla. Well, I thought the twist. My one idea was that it turns out Godzilla is in fact. They start, Godzilla attacks, but they also they don't. The Beatles don't stop playing the music, and it turns out Godzilla actually really likes the Beatles. It turns out Godzilla actually really loves the Beatles music. And it starts calming him down, and he starts dancing to it. And it turns out like the real enemy is like Mecha Godzilla or something. And the Beatles and Godzilla team up to defeat Mecha Godzilla. That was the basic premise. And the story ends with Godzilla joining the Beatles on stage. Yeah. Exactly. It's I Want to Hold Your Hand, right? It's I Want to Hold Your Hand. Anime fans. It's not like I'm one of them. I'm cool. I know sport. I've played a sport before, I know it. Oh, as a cool otaku, I've held plenty of girls' hands. See, what I do is if a girl has like a water bottle, I make sure to get that water bottle and hold it right after she holds it. And that is pretty much the same as holding a girl's hand. That's like the same thing as holding her hand. And that's pretty much like the first time I ever held a girl's hand. Listen, that sounds bad, but that is legitimate. When I was a young man, I had seen some kind of nerds talk like that, of like, okay, so what I did was I found, so I was with this girl and I was hanging out. We were in karate class together and it was getting really hot and she was drinking out of this water bottle the whole time. So what I did was I got her water bottle and I drank out of it right after she did, and it was like the first kiss I ever had. Doesn't necessarily count, I think, as a first kiss. Yeah, and this one time at band, Gabriel, they would never do band camp. That would distract from animes. That would distract from all the anime they watch. That's too normie. Not at all based on this one kid I knew in high school who was like this. Not that I'm making fun of any of you lovely people. All of you people are super. Okay. You've never been to band camp? But surely never. You have seen the greatest piece of cinema ever. American Pie. What? What? Which a lot of people will assure you is like the best movie ever made. La Cinema. Remember, that director then went on to get nominated for an Oscar for a different movie, a much better movie. Paul Weiss made. He then went on to write and direct About a Boy, which was a much better movie, and is actually very charming. And I rewatched it recently, and it still holds up very well. And it's about you should check it out if you've never seen it. It's a very cute movie. Young Nicholas Hoult is in it, aka the now Lex Luthor, which I always find very funny that he is now like a handsome man, when I knew that movie as him as like a dorky kid. We don't want to be an American. Do you know what I just found out today? Do you know that Sean Austin, aka aka Samwise, is. Do you know he's a not he was he's an Oscar nominee? Can I mix? Yeah, I've been mimicking an American accent perfectly for all these years. I'm actually Scottish. Ah, twist, twist, twist. Right? But I'm so deep in character now, I can't do a Scottish accent anymore. I can sort of do. I can do an okay Canadian. It's just because I know a lot, because I have a lot of family members who are Canadian, and I just imitate them. Not great, mind you, but I can do an okay one. Oh yeah, there. No, it's every time I say I can do it, then I get two in my head. But I've been able to do it before. Oh, I don't know about that. No, don't know about that. Yeah. Oh yeah, yeah. Don't know. That's my best attempt at a Canadian accent. I used to do it better. Then somebody pointed out I could do it okay, and now my mind, I can never like now I get two in my head every time I try and do it. Actually, I think Beverly Hills' later stuff, Weezer's later stuff, is pretty good. I think Weezer has maintained the quality out and out through the rest of the years. I'm just trying to incite a riot. I actually think Weezer's White Album is just as good as their original, as their earlier stuff. Have I offended Weezer fans enough? Can this be like a long discussion now? What are you getting on that pizza, my man? What are you getting on that pizza? You're a monster. That's monster food. Good to see you, man. Good to see you. It's monster food. It's food for monsters. I didn't know. Yeah. So, Gabriel, I guess we can talk about this now. I don't want people to feel left out, but does that idea sound fun to you? The that I told you about earlier today that I had. That idea sounds fun, right? What do you think would be a good system for that? The idea we talked about earlier today. The superhero RPG. Yeah. I don't either outside. I've never played a D&D. I've never played. No, I have. I've played an RPG outside of D&D before, but I've never done an extensive one. But I thought it would be fun. But I've been looking them up, and they're like, there's a lot of them. There's a lot of them, and all of them seem to do contradictory things. So I don't know. Could you? Yeah. Didn't want to be an American idiot. Tell me about your other superhero. Idiot. Yeah. Tell me about it. Ooh, I like that. I like that idea. That sounds like a fun idea. How long have I been on? You know what? I'm gonna call it here. I have some stuff I want to do. It's good talking to you people. I am very serious about this idea, though. I think I really want to try out a superhero RPG. So I'll get more news when I've decided on a system. But I mean, we could go through some. We should go through them at some point. The one everybody seems to like is masks, but that seems geared to telling a very like particular story. We can hang out. I don't mind. I'm cool. Seems to be geared to telling a very particular story. Like, do you want to do the teen superhero thing? Because that's what it's designed to do. I don't know. Do you want to do like teenage superheroes? I'm lukewarm on the concept in general. Not that teenage superheroes are bad. It's just I don't know. Do we want to do that or I don't know. I don't like the idea of like really constraining people and coming up with like characters. The one I was really thinking about is Champions, and people say that's a really good system, but it apparently is very like combat heavy, like rules intense. Like there's a lot of like. My least favorite thing in tabletop RPGs is spending like half an hour like figuring out all the combat stuff. So if I can, I try and avoid that. So yeah. So I don't know. And plus, there's a little bit of it's like I want to come up with my own story. If we're gonna do this, I'd rather have fun at coming up with my own stuff. I'm leaning towards Champions, but that feels like a really combat heavy, and the group we're better, I think, when we're doing more RPG stuff. I don't know. One idea I've had for a long time though is an Another thing I want to try at some point is, this is just because I thought it would be funny to do. I've never played the original version of D&D. I've only ever played the more modern version, and I thought it might be fun if we did like a maybe a small campaign where we play the original D&D game, like with the original rules and everything, just to see what it's like. Because people say it's actually quite different than like what happens now. Yeah, we'll see. Yeah. I don't know. I just want to. I want to try something different. How long have we been going on for? 2 hours? I don't know. To me, that's long enough. I know people out there in the land of the internet can go for like 5 hours or something, but I don't got that stamina, especially not today. We'll, go ahead, my bad. Go ahead. Or I could create a totally new one. So one thing I've been thinking of lately, okay, this is just an idea. I always have like a million ideas. One thing I've been thinking of lately is film. Okay, no, I'll let you go. I need to sit down and actually work out my ideas before I talk about them. Okay. Let's end it. Okay. See you guys later. Have a good time. I might do something later tonight. I still have like a lot of energy, but I need a break right now. I might try and get the traditional stream back up and running again. We'll see. Bye.